Hi, my name is Franco Tenelli, and today I'm going to talk about 19 vocal paradoxes, which some of one you probably encountered while studying vocal music. Now, let's first define what is a paradox in general. Paradox in general is a seemingly contradictory statement. You see, it's not a contradiction, but it's a seemingly contradiction. But let's first try to understand why these contradictions or seemingly contradictions do exist in the human mind. It is important to know that our logic, which is based on the logic of Aristotle, and most of the times those who study logic, of course, know that Aristotelian logic and the computer logic based on a binary system, basically. Binary system is a two-digit, 1 and 0, which means that it can be only 1 or 0. There cannot be any third digit in this operational system. So the logic also operates basically this way, in a binary way. If there are two statements and one contradict another, they cannot be both truth. This is a binary logic. Now, I'll give you a very simple example, okay? Let's say if one person says, this is the vocal score of Italian songs, and another says, no, this is the Bible. One of these people is wrong. Does binary logic work in vocal science? Let's examine this. Before we go to that, let me read first all the 19 vocal paradoxes that I put in a paper, and then step by step try to explain and understand those paradoxes. Paradox number 1. The higher one sings, the lower one should think. Paradox number 2. Drink the sound. Paradox number 3. Empty head is a good source of vocal resonance. Statement number 4. Stupid face helps singing challenging notes. Number 5. Personal sensations often lie about real vocal mechanics. 6. Personal sensations are the most important tools in singing. Number 7. Personalized sensations are the worst tools in teaching vocals. Number 8. Singers religiously believe their sensations are the only correct ones. Number 9. Great singers are often lousy vocal teachers. They believe the ways are personal, but think their subjective sensations are the ones. Number 10. Only in vocal art, for some reason, singers are often taught technique by those who never sang in their own lives. Number 11. Science is very objective, but fails to teach us how to sing. Number 12. Over-emotional singer is a lousy singer. Number 13. Drama classes may not at all help you to become a good singing opera actor. Interesting. Number 14. Two mutually seemingly contradicting statements. A. Try to send your voice as far as possible to the last row, to the deaf person. Number B. Try to send your voice as if the audience were behind you. 15. Breathy, under-supported voice tires vocal cords much more than huge resonant operatic voice. Number 16. Whispering while talking, trying to preserve one's voice, is the worst way of keeping the voice in good shape before the performance. Number 17. Performing singer never knows for sure if she or he sounded well. Number 18, it's not a paradox, but it's important to put it here, is singer's confidence directly affects his technique. And number 19, it's very, very interesting paradox. You might not find it as a paradox. but it's a truth rather than and reality. The voice teacher don't automatically, upon first hearing, really know about students' individual voice, and needs some time to study and to understand it in order to teach it. So I gave you this 19 vocal paradoxes. Some of them are real paradoxes, some of them are just statements of truth. And let me explain each one of these paradoxes by numbers, step by step. Okay, number one, the higher one sings, the lower one should think. Well, I have many problems about this, so I don't go into details, of course. But the lower thinking enables you to subconsciously control those forces that you don't consciously usually control. And those forces are diaphragm, for example, and it's the balance and opposition to the main supporting force. So that is very important for you to understand that this kind of imagery of thinking low basically enables a good balance for the singing. For details, you go and watch my other videos about this subject. Now, number two, basically is the same as number one, drink the sound. What's the paradox of this is, because most of the people think that the voice flows like water, the hose of the water. So they imagine that it's like a real a flow of something. But in fact, the voice is not a flow. The voice is a wave. If you understand it as a wave, you won't have a problem of understanding of drinking the sound. Because the drinking the sound also enables you subconsciously to produce a less forced sound, to balance it with the diaphragm. Number three, empty head is a good source of vocal resonance. I remember my second teacher was a very intellectual guy and famous dramatic tenor, and he considered me intellectual. Once we were in the course of the lesson, I couldn't get this particular high note really well. And I started thinking about it, started, analyzing it, I started to make sense of that and that, and he told me, empty your head, because empty head is much better resonance than the one full with ideas. Of course, he said it jokingly. But this has nothing to do with stupid or smart. Actually, you're being a very smart singer if you empty your head while singing. So this is another program that I talked about. Now, stupid face, right? Why should I make a stupid face? Why should I make a fool of myself while singing? No, the stupid face does not, attitude does not recommend you to sing like stupid on stage. All it tries to make you really relaxed mouth and throat and tongue, and only by really totally relaxing, and one of this total relaxation is to really make your face a total idiot, really relaxes all the muscles, not just thinking of it, but this real extreme phase of relaxation. So really, that's Beniamino Gigli. I mentioned in my programs, he talked about this, about the high notes. Now, this is a chain of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're all interconnected because they make contradictions in a way, those from 5 to 9. Now, personal sensation often lie about real vocal mechanism. They almost always lie about it. Because the way we feel about what we do and the way the real action goes is not the same. 6, personal sensations are the most important tools in singing. And yet, personal sensation become, for a singer, for a practical singer, for a professional singer, his personal banks of sensations, his tools. Imagine if the pianist doesn't feel his finger, he will probably not play well, even not play at all. The same thing with singers. The singer should feel how he sings. And sensations will depend on the school he is. For example, if he is more placement school, then his sensations will be like, oh, where is my voice? Where is this note resonates? and stuff like this, and for appoggio it will be more sensations of the support and the diaphragm, but nevertheless those sensations can be very, and they are very individual. Number 7, personalized sensations are the worst tools in teaching vocals. Now you see, the personalized sensations are very important for me personally as Franco Tenelli, as an opera guy who goes and sings on stage. You know, I don't care how you feel, how anybody else feels. I have to know how I feel about it, and I have to use this for my own practical reasons. But after a while using this, I become so religiously attached to this. I think that is the only way to feel and to sense. And I might use that in my teaching. I might insist on certain sensations. Proposing sensations are not wrong ways, but actually insisting or telling your student that that's how you're supposed to feel, that's the great damage, and that's the great threat. Number 8, singers religiously believe their sensations are the only correct ones. We all talked. Number 9, great singers are often lousy vocal teachers. They believe the ways are personal, but think their subjective sensations are the ones. So they kind of agree, yeah, it's personal, but it's my personal, and everybody in the world should feel like the way I do. So you see this from 5 to 9, we understand that the logic is not binary in this case. So let's go to number 10. Only in vocal art, for some reason, singers are often taught technique by those who never sang in their own lives. And you know that some singers are absolutely furious about that. They say nobody should approach singer's technique if he is not singer himself. And you know, I agree with that 99%. I make some exceptions for some hyper-duper amazing geniuses who are able to have a vocal ear without having a voice. There are exceptions. But remember, there are exceptions. It's not like exceptions 1 of 10. They're 1 in thousands. So this is a very small margin of people, so if you're lucky. And most of the people who teach vocal technique and never sing themselves are dangerous for our profession. I repeat, dangerous. It doesn't mean that your vocal pianist can be your coach and correct you. Okay, this is the pitch. Okay, this is the pitch, this is this, and even may ask you to say, to make it a little dark or maybe bright or something. Very small and general indications. That absolutely is okay. I don't have any opposition to this kind of coaching. But when vocal coach, or rather pianist or somebody else, tries to teach you vocal tricks and vocal technique, he doesn't know zilch about it. All he knows is he attended some classes and he picked up his favorite vocal teacher's tricks. He doesn't know the sound, he just knows what goes superficially. And that's why this pianist or whoever it is extremely dangerous for the vocal technique. He could be a great coach at the same time, and you can love him as a great coach and a great musician, but the moment it intervenes into your vocal technique, that could be very dangerous. Number 11. Science is very objective, but fails to teach us how to sing. Now, you see, we're talking about combination of science and psychology and personal sensations. Everything should be used in teaching and learning vocal art. But science describes the vocal technique, the correct ones. You can describe you one tempo singing, appoggio, what the appoggio singer really is doing when he's singing with this particular technique. It can describe it very well and correct. But you cannot give this description to a singer and tell, oh, this is an objective truth. If you follow that, you will be a great singer. Because singer himself does not operate with scientific terms. Singer himself operates with his own sensations that are much more real than any scientific term or explanation. Number 12. Over-emotional singer is a lousy singer. Now we see, those who, some of you might disagree with me and say, no, the emotions should be there when you're singing. Absolutely. I mean, I hate those who sing just technically and don't put love into their singing. I would say rather love than emotions. Because I explain you one thing. For those who ever prefer drama, and I had this, my own experience when I was a young singer, and I first approached not even to sing, but just to learn the role of Canio in I Pagliacci and Otello. I was so emotional about certain moments, for example, Non mi tema. I was so involved into it. I so felt it, the drama of this particular aria. It was giving me goosebumps all the time. I hear the good performance, and when I start singing it, it was not giving me goosebumps, it was giving me spasms. And I couldn't really sing because I was emotionally feeling it. You see? So after doing it for a while, I realized that there has to be something else. There has to be emotional singing, but at the same time not over-emotional and not damaging your vocal technique. There has to be a balance between. And this is very important to know for those who try to be emotional. Basically, trust me, if you're over-emotional or even too emotional, what you're doing is ridiculous to us. In you, you may be crying, you may be having the whole drama in the world, but for the audience it will be funny, because the production of what you're trying to express will be lousy. That's why I'm saying that over-emotional singer is a lousy singer. Now, number 13. Drama classes may not at all help you to become a good singing opera actor. Now, how about this? All of us think that, when we learn singing and we are on stage already and we're lucky to have a good voice, a good teacher, let's put aside the technical problems. We don't have any technical problems, let's say. Or we think we don't. And we want to learn how to be really good actor on stage, like Maria Callas, like Placido Domingo, like some of the great singers that combine also great acting. And we, of course, we say, oh, I have to take a drama lessons. Logical, right? I have to take a drama lesson. And you go and spend your money and time on drama lessons, and then you come out absolutely empty. You don't know what to do in opera with these drama lessons. This was an example of Sir Beniamino Gigli, who was, well, a great singer, but considered by many as a lousy drama actor. So he was really, what is wrong with him? How can he put his singing into drama? He went to see some drama, I think it was Romeo and Juliet, just to see the drama. Came out absolutely, and he was an honest guy. He was not a PR guy. This is important to know. That's why I love Gigli. Gigli tells the truth. 90% of what he writes is, you feel it's true. It's not a PR action. And so he felt that, he said, I didn't learn anything. And in my class, there was another attempt for the drama director, because they call it for 1 year to teach us singers how to act on stage. And he already tried doing this and this, and he figured it out. If our mind can think during the singing, then if we train ourselves like this, then we be able to have drama, or the words, or the context of what we're singing very clearly in front of us, in front of our mind, and at the same time we can sing emotionally and project. So we kind of combine these two, intellectual, or the words, the meaning of the aria or the act, and the singing with emotions. And what he did to us, it was very, I look at this as funny, but he put us on stage. I went to be an experiment. I always liked these experiments. And I was a mathematician, not per se, but I have an engineer's education and a master's degree in engineering. So already had this master's degree in engineering when he was proposing us to do some simple arithmetic equations, like 6 by 6, 5 by 5, and while you're singing the aria, let's say, Caro mio, and he will give you right away, you get a 6 by 6, and you have to point it out at the right correct answer with your left hand, because there were some optional answers. And he wanted to develop this simultaneous thinking, logical and emotional. And you know what? It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work because there is one simple explanation. First of all, logic does not work when you sing. You know, the imagery and emotionality lies in totally different sphere of your mind. And number 14, we basically touched it. It's two mutually seemingly contradictory statements. Try to send your voice as far as possible to the last row and the opposite one. In fact, both can be helpful if the teacher has great vocal ear and plays them not as an absolute statements, but as imagery, and uses it according to sound and not to the method. These two suggestions are mental, imaginary calibrations of your placement and support. Number 15, it's a breathy sound. Try to avoid breathiness when you try to preserve your voice. The best thing is the silence. If you're preparing for your performance, just try to be silent. But if you still have to give some answers to whatever people are around you, please don't do that, because this is the worst for the voice. Trying to preserve it, it's the worst. Believe me on that. Acoustic performer singer really doesn't know how he performed. I mean, he might know how he did emotionally, but vocally he never knows. Once Pavarotti did a great performance at the Metropolitan, and he was asked by a correspondent, so how did you do it? And he said, I don't know. And they were just assuming that Pavarotti is meek, you know, he doesn't want to say, oh, I was great, he doesn't want to be a self-promoting great artist. But Pavarotti actually, he explained, I don't know. We singers don't know 100% how we do it. So it's important to know. Now, number 18 is kind of an obvious, not even a paradox, it's a statement, but number 19, voice teacher don't automatically, upon first hearing, really know about students' individual voice, and they need some time to study it. And there are three types of teachers, basically, in that regard. Let's say that the first type believes that he knows everything from the first hearing. He says, oh, I know what you are, you know. You're the category vocal fach, you're tenor, baritone. I know where to go, exactly. Second one, pretends he knows. Pretends he knows, at least this guy knows, I don't know, but I want to keep the student. I want to pretend I know everything about him. Otherwise, most of the students will leave you. It's, you know, if you show some kind of concern, oh, I have to determine, we have some time, most of the students are leaving you because they need a very confident teacher who knows absolutely everything from the first sight. What a naive thought. Now, the teachers who say, well, I'm going to study your voice and we need some time to develop are very rare, because that's not a good commercial side of it, you know. Most of the students will leave you if you will show some doubts, and there is nothing doubtful about it. This is the truth. A good voice teacher always learns from the student, whether he says it openly or not. But if he doesn't learn, it means that he will follow his student by the method and will disregard his individual voice qualities. And for that the teacher knows everything, there is a very interesting tale about Confucius, where he was passing and two young philosophers maybe were arguing about when sun is closer to earth. And the one was saying, listen, the sun in the morning is bigger, so that's because it's bigger, it means it's closer to earth. No, the other student said, no. The sun is hotter in the afternoon, and therefore it's closer to earth because, you know, it's hotter. And they turned to great Confucius and they asked him, Confucius, what do you think about it? Confucius thought and didn't answer a thing. And then they said, and somebody told us Confucius knows everything. Thank you very much. This was Franco Tenelli and 19 vocal paradoxes. Until next time.